So the other day you had mentioned something about truck drivers passing on to the next generation or something to that effect. What were you talking about?
Well, on my way with the kids the other day, I was driving and there was a bobtail near, like they were making a turn in front of us. And I, just happened to mention, hey, that's called a bobtail. Because I used to do it when the older kids were younger, and I had our grandchildren, and I'm like, yeah, that's what it's called. And they're like, oh, okay. And my mom, who's 80, said, I never knew that. I'm like, wow, all these years, you've never known what that's called. She goes, no. And then I went on to explain how stopping is for them and so forth, because they don't have a trailer and all. And it made me think that sometimes these generations aren't truly passing on this knowledge that is every day, because down the road, we're coming through construction, and there is a tractor, a tractor and trailer going around me, and it was going down to one lane, and he went flying past me, and I was in the lane I was supposed to be in, and he came up, and he was next to a tanker, and my mom said, I remember the day when truck drivers would do this thing. It's probably illegal, she said, but they would sit there and they would kind of scoot over a little bit so people couldn't come rushing up, because all these people kept rushing up and they were going around us when, it was going down to one lane, and you know how it bottlenecks then. So she said, drivers used to do that. She said, I don't see it as much anymore.
You mean like blocking a lane?
Yeah, splitting a lane. And I said, that's what they used to do. And then I told her how sometimes they would go and the two trucks will stay side by side, and then at the last minute, the one truck will let the other truck in front of them, so that they're legally, quote, not splitting the lane then, and still holding back all those people trying to fly past them. But this was, it was right there at the arrow. So, and then I had to go and tell them how it was an Indian arrow and blah, blah, blah. And
well, I mean, as far as that particular subject goes, I mean, I seen a study in Germany where they zipper. They were showing videos on when they're coming into construction, they literally just one will come in, the other one will come in from both sides. And sometimes, believe it or not, there's studies, and I've been guilty of holding the traffic back.
Mm-hmm.
And, with another rig, when I was a driver, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to hold these guys back, and we'll wait till the very last second, and then we'll kind of, merge together. And, we would do that. But what I've learned, I think that's actually wrong. Because if you just let both lanes get fully filled up, let me tell you what happens. People see left lane closing half a mile ahead. And then what happens is everybody starts jumping over to the right lane, 80% of them. And then it leaves this long stretch on the left that goes all the way up to where you have to merge. And what happens is everybody that got over too quick, they feel that, oh, the other guys are cheating. We're just going to not let them in. And it creates a little bit of chaos and stress. When if you would just stay in your lane until the very last second, if everybody... Okay, if you're in I think what happens is really, I'm in the left lane, it says left lane closing, and I panic because, oh my God, I'll never get over. But what people don't realize is if you would just go to where you stop, the other lane's going to stop also. And then really, most people I know people are going to disagree with this statement, but once you get to the stop part, most people are pretty courteous. They let you in and out. Every now and then you get a jackass that's, gonna just hold it a line and not let you in, but most people will let you in. I mean, it really does actually work out better if you just fill both lanes.
If people did do it that way, but what happens is there's so many people that just fly up to get around that they're just flying up and going around and going around and going around. And like you said, the people that are in the lane that's staying open, you have a long line of people that are actually have gotten over when the arrow told them to get over, and you have the other side that is staying open to a point because the other ones are just flying up, flying up, flying up.
But listen, the arrow didn't tell them to get over. The arrow just warned them that they're going to have to get over because this lane is going to run out. So they just figure, well, I better get over now. 80% of the people, maybe even 90%, they all shoot over right away. And what happens is two things. Then you get somebody that's saying, "Oh, I'll just keep going." Okay. And then you always get somebody who wants to play the hero, and he'll come out and block them. In fact, I was at an accident scene the other day down in the Veterans coming in Tampa, and there was a car fire. I actually put it on my page, and there was a car fire, and two or three stadies came flying down the berm of the road, right, to get to it. So a couple of civilian cars thought, "Oh, I'm just going to go ahead and get out there." And so what happened was some big monster truck, a big white Chevy, I think it was, or Ford, with the monster tires, he decided to just say, "Okay, I'm going to play blocker man." So he gets over on the berm and doesn't let the people fly up on the berm. Okay, when realistically, you're not supposed to be blocker man. You're really not.
But you're not supposed to fly up the berm either.
You're right, but the guy that gets over on the... Well, let me tell you the end result. When we finally got up to that point, a stady was out writing tickets to two cars. I think it was two cars and blocker man. So everybody was getting a ticket. So it was all wrong. You're better off people's pride gets reared up. And there's been tractor trail. I talked to a trucker one time there was cars coming up along the berm. He decided to block it, and some car ran into him. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of damage.
Oh,
right?
I seen a video of one of them.
Well, there wasn't a lot of damage, but guess what happened when the ambulance, or not the ambulance, when the tow truck or the cop was coming and the tow truck was coming because the car had damage to where it had to be done. Guess what happened? The guy in the car.
Ow, ow.
Exactly, my neck. He literally laid on the ground and started asking for assistance because all of a sudden he developed pain. So now the trucker, he got terminated because the company that I was with couldn't hire the guy because of an accident with injury that was deemed his fault. And all he did was try to block the lane, and somebody, just bumped him. It wasn't really a major thing, but now he had a DOT recordable with, quote, injury, and he even told me, he said, "Listen, the guy was walking around, and then when he seen the tow truck and the stady coming, he laid down and started saying he's in pain, and therefore it became a major incident." So all I'm saying is, just because there's people running up on the berm, you let them go. Let your pride go, man. Let them get in trouble by themselves. You're risking yourself getting in trouble, and that's what happened to that monster truck the other day. Literally last week, when we were sitting in traffic, and that stady was so mad. You know why? Because that state cop came flying up, and he was trying to get to the accident, and he couldn't get to it because there was a handful of cars that were blocked, and now he had to sit there. And the monster truck had moved out, so that means everybody tightened up. He couldn't get back in, and the only thing for that monster truck to do now was go up to the car fire, and he couldn't do that. So now all of them were going to get in trouble no matter what. They were all getting tickets. So, you know what I'm saying? So, listen, I want to move on. I want to move on to what originally I thought you were talking about. You're talking about passing on generations to generations.
Yeah, I kind of had it all bunched together.
You kind of twisted that a little bit, but I think the audience is used to your twisted mind. Now listen to me for a second. Listen to me for a second. Let's reel this down a notch. I want to talk about. I thought that was actually a really good subject.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you why I say that. Are truck drivers passing it down? Some are. Yes, absolutely. So my grandfather passed it down to me, and it's a great profession. But you see, the problem is you're gonna have some guys out there going, "Oh, I wouldn't want my son driving a truck." It's good enough for you, but it's not good enough for your son. "I wouldn't want my son driving a truck, not with today's industry and all the regulations." That is such.
It doesn't hurt to teach them what the terms are, though. Even if they're not going to do that, the kid might want to be a scientist, not a truck driver, but still giving him the information is not going to hurt.
Now, I'm talking about a kid that wants to drive. Some of these, I've seen guys in blogs saying, "Oh, I wouldn't let my kid drive. I would steer them away. I would never give this advice." All because people are miserable. First off, anybody that's miserable in trucking, if you're miserable out there on the road, you really probably shouldn't be there. Honestly, I seen a guy in a blog the other day, right? He's been driving a month. He writes on this blog, how do you guys do this? It's such a lonely job. Well, it is a lonely job unless you enjoy it.
Right.
That's you either love it or you don't. And if you don't, it's going to be lonely. Therefore, if you're miserable, don't stop your son or your nephew or somebody's friend from letting their young man become a truck driver. We have young guys that write into us that are 17, 18, saying, hey, I can't wait to get out there on the road. It's what their dream is. Why discourage somebody from that dream if that's what they like?
It's not for everyone, but yet there's a lot of professions that aren't for everyone, and it takes someone special to do that. And it takes someone special to be a driver.
I'll tell you what, if you're a driver and you have a son or a daughter that has the calling, I knew when I was young that I wanted to do it because I love to be out there.
He likes to go bye-bye.
I love going bye-bye. And I'm just saying, it was my passion, the big rigs, the smell, everything. I loved it. And my whole thing would be this. If I was back in the road and I had a son that wanted to at least, number one, go at least as a rider. You know what I mean? Just to get him out there and see if he gets the bug. Is it something he really wants? Because if he does have the bug, I would want to be the one to at least mentally train him.
Right.
I might not be in today's industry. It's tough to train your own kid because most companies won't let you do that. But at least you can give a lot of advice on what to look for, what to expect, how to do it right, how to be safe, how to survive out there, right?
Just all the good advice that you should be passing on, period. But you can give them that advice on what to expect so that they're not getting, the advice quote from the school bus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm getting at. Like, if you're one of those guys that are like, oh, I don't want my kid driving a truck, man. It sucks, man. I wouldn't give this.
Your voices.
I wouldn't give this job to my worst nightmare. I wouldn't give it to my enemy, man. I wouldn't have no one drive a tractor.
And then they need to get them butt out of the tractor trailer. If they have that poor of an attitude, that's why they don't have a good experience being a driver. You got a bad attitude towards it.
Stop pissing in your own cereal and your kid. I'm just saying this. So what if your kid really is going to become a trucker and you're just trying to discourage him? Now he becomes a truck driver without your help and without your advice.
Right.
So, and I've heard so many guys say this crap that, I wouldn't want my kid driving a truck. Oh, BS. You know what I mean? Come on, man. I would not mind my kid driving a track trailer at all. And because if that's what he wants to do,
right?
Honestly, I mean, nobody was going to stop me.
I would be pleased because I know how important truck driving is.
I would. Nobody was going to stop me from driving truck. When I decided I was going to do it, there was nobody going to talk me out of it. That's what I wanted. I realized, man, this is what I want to do. I'm like, I was smoked on it, man. Stoked rather.
Smoked.
Yeah, I would have failed. No, but seriously, I was stoked on being a trucker. And like, if my grandfather would have tried to talk me out of it, nobody was going to talk me out of it because I wanted to do it. So all I'm saying is pass it down. Pass the love of trucking down. Pass some of the things that a lot of people complain about how truckers really should communicate. Pass on using your CB. Mm-hmm. Pass on helping other drivers.
I have something to say about that then, too.
Pass on respecting the industry. Pass on being the right kind of truck driver. And in fact, teach your kids, if you can actually be part of the solution someday by teaching your kids the respect of the industry. And really, there is a good part of the trucking industry. Anybody that whines and bitches and pisses in his own cereal and cries all the time how he hates trucking, I have zero respect for anybody like that. Zero. Mm-hmm. Because that's just somebody that shouldn't be behind a freaking tractor trailer driving if you're going to cry. I know so many guys that retired 30 and 40 years, and yes, it's changing. And yeah, us drivers from back then, okay, we may not like the way the regulations are today and how everything is today. But you know what? If you're a young truck driver, that's all you know, and you love it, okay? In fact, 30-some years ago when I was in the truck, okay, with my grandfather, and then 25 years ago when I was driving, guess what? My rules that I learned were different than what my grandfather learned. It was a totally different regulations with everything across the country. And you want to know something? It literally, my generation was probably going, yeah, those guys had it better back then. And the guys today, the young guys coming up today, help these guys. They're probably thinking the same thing. Yeah, I hear all the time how the old school truckers, man, they had it made and it was so great because they're always bragging on the CB and the truck stop. You guys are discouraging these young guys. Yes, we had it better, according to us. But if we were a young guy right now, we wanted to get out there on the road, guess what? We would like it, okay? It's because those young guys, they're coming in with not knowing the rules we were under, not knowing paper logs and all that other stuff that we were allowed to get away with. These young guys, they're used to doing it the new regulatory way.
Yeah,
That's
when they
all
went
I'm
to
saying. Stop discouraging, start encouraging, okay? Again, I just want to reiterate one thing, all right? Encourage, don't discourage.
Right.
Help it and stop complaining about it. Honestly, if you hate trucking that bad, get out of trucking. All right. You know what's funny? I hear people at every different job. Literally, you can go and talk to a Walmart guy and he will bitch and moan about his job. And then you can meet somebody that's been there 15 years and he loves it. Right?
Yeah.
And you can go to somebody that works for, I don't know, what's a big, like a Coca-Cola or AT&T. And I'll guarantee you can go in an office and you could find one guy that's always bitching and moaning because the AT&T is not like they used to be, man. And there's another guy that's been there 30 years going, man, I love my job. I'm just saying, same with trucking. You always got the guy that's bitching and moaning, and there's always the really good guys that love being in trucking. So pass it on. Pass it down to the young guys and gals that want to learn how to drive a truck. That's my advice, okay?
Sounds good.
So we're going to move on. Why don't you tell them about one of our sponsors, J.J. Keller, Ruthann? J.J. Keller is the DOT compliant paperwork people.
Well, that's just one of the little things that they do.
They do a lot of things.
They do a lot of other things, but that's one of the things that they do. And because, the truckers that are older, that are went owner-operator, they didn't have as much stuff to do to be compliant, I think.
That's right.
Now that there is so many rules and regulations, even though you're passing that info on to your son or daughter, when they're becoming the owner-operator, J.J. Keller will give a hand on making sure that some of that stuff is definitely compliant with today's regulations.
Well, real quick, I'll say it again. What I hear a lot of problems with small trucking companies is staying compliant and keeping up to date on their paperwork for, I'm serious, a couple bucks a month. It's not much. J.J. Keller, it's like hiring your own office staff that will take care of all your paperwork. And if you get audited or anything like that in trucking by DOT, J.J. Keller will have you in line. And if you're a guy trying to get into the trucking industry, as far as becoming an owner-operator, you need your DOT and all that other stuff, they'll help you file all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, they have lots of nice stuff. Their number, you want to tell them?
Yep. Number for J.J. Keller. Check him out. Tell him Talk CDL sent you over there. 888-601-2017. That's 888-601-2017. Ruthann, moving on.
You were saying about the CB.
Oh, go ahead. What about CB?
Well, I was on, there's on Facebook, they have a lot of different groups, and Women in Trucking, I belong to that group. And the one woman had come in there and she had said, about the CB. She had just bought a really cute new CB. It was pink and black. And yes, I know it's a girly color, but it was a Cobra. So they were going through and they were doing all this different stuff. And she was asking advice. She said, it's been a while. Wanted to know, she was saying about a handle and so forth. And they were talking about how people come up with their CB handle. But then one person in there said, I don't know, I haven't used a CB in years. It was nothing but a bunch of junk and all that other stuff that they were talking about when you're on the CB. And this one woman, Michelle, went on there and she said, listen, you can say what you want. You can turn it down, but the purpose of a CB is so important. And she went on and explained everything that we are always saying about how important it is for accidents. And she went through this whole thing, whether or not a chicken house is open.
Police reports.
Yeah.
Backups.
Everything.
Accidents, weather. Everything.
Construction. She went through and said, it's so important because you could hear this stuff and you know ahead of time, and you're not suffering any kind of consequences then by being late or anything like that. And I wanted to just basically say how great it was that there was a woman on there going in and standing up for being on the CB, and a lot of the women were on it, but she was able to point out so many good points on why it's so important for a CB, especially now with the weather and stuff.
Well, I'm gonna leave that subject. Well, no, I'm not gonna leave it, but let me just say this. As far as a group of guys that are out there somewhere in the United States right now, and their group is growing. I'm going to tell you who that group is. It's a group of guys that survived a major accident, but still got into an accident, or maybe slid by one because they didn't have their CB. There's a group of guys that now have a CB because they were the same guys that were saying, oh, all you got to do is drive with sense. All you got to do is stay alert and be a real truck driver. I hear guys there's so many guys out there that say that, and they don't realize, like up on 80 in Pennsylvania, the curvy mountainy road, and coming around a corner, and there's an accident or something on the road that somebody on the CB might have been hailing you saying, eastbound, back out of it. There's a wreck in the passing lane, and you come around a corner and wreck because you didn't know it, because you're just an alert trucker that's going to be real cautious and be a real trucker because you don't need a CB. I'm telling you, there's a growing group right now of guys that bragged and thought they didn't need a CB. Wait, I got this one. I'm sick and tired of the language and the bad mouths on that CB, man. I don't like to hear that. My virgin ears. Guess what? I'm just saying. That CB is a tool. It's part of your job. And you know what? I know there's guys probably put their middle finger right now at their radio as I'm saying that, but I'm just telling you guys for your own good. There's a group of guys growing that are buying CBs because they really ate crow because they got into an accident, or they almost got into a deathly accident and they went, damn, I didn't even know that was there. I better get a CB.
Well, here's the thing. You could drive with caution, but sometimes you don't have eyes behind your trailer, and you could have done your inspection and never realized. Now all of a sudden going down the road because you just drove, and even could have been seconds afterwards, your back lights aren't working, and you have no idea your back lights aren't working. And if you have a CB and the person behind you is trying to hail you and tell you, hey buddy, your back lights are all out.
That's true. That is true. You know, that's a ticket. You know, whether you know it or not.
Well, it's not just a ticket. It could also be an accident.
Absolutely. And lights can go out just like that. I'm just saying, you guys have no idea, like you just said, Ruth Ann. You really now have thousands of drivers' eyes looking out for you if you have a CB.
Right.
Absolutely. Bear reports, backup reports, accidents, black ice ahead. It's starting to freeze up on the hill there. Blah, 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 blah. And you know what? You guys that don't have a CB, you just keep driving with sense because you're never going to have an accident. I don't guarantee it. Ruth Ann, you ready to move on?
Moving on.
You're moving on. You know what I seen? I was reading, which is kind of interesting. Actually, you know what? Let me tell you about one more of our sponsors, National Carriers out of Dallas. Awesome company, the big blue Kenworth T680 76-inch sleepers, beautiful truck, beautiful people. And what's really cool about them, they don't do broker freight. So you always have loads waiting for you. I'm sure I got friends that work over there. You know, Trucker Ron used to be on the show. He's been at National for like 3 years, and he absolutely adores the place. Regional runs, company runs, team runs, dedicated runs, over the road runs, and lease. They got a great percentage lease contract if you have leasing experience, and if you're a new student that's got a trucking school certificate, call Ruth Ann. Give them the number.
888-311-7076.
That's 888-311-7076. National Carriers, or NCI. Give them a call. Tell them Talk CDL told you to call over there. And, hey, check them out. It's worth at least a phone call. I'm telling you, I would not endorse companies on this show that I didn't think really were doing good in the industry. And they're good people. I've talked to them a million times. They actually have a great attitude over there. So let's move on. I was looking at this article that I read. It says TSA, which stands for Truckload Carriers Association. And I don't normally name this type of a thing.
TSA can't be Truckload Carrier Association.
I'm sorry, TCA.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there like thinking, what the heck? What was missing?
Yeah. How did I do that?
Well, I can tell you how you did it.
Because it's Truckload Carriers Association. No, TCA, Truckload Carriers Association. And Carrier's Edge has selected the best for hire trucking companies. And I don't normally give companies free. And not that it's not free. I just don't normally name companies because I don't know the companies myself. Okay, so I'm trying not to say this is just their opinion,
right,
based on their criteria. And you can actually go over to Truckload Carriers Association page and read it. But they named the 2021 best fleets to drive for.
Okay.
You know, and this is according to their criteria. You can go over to their page, Carrier's Edge and all, and just read what the criteria is. If you're a trucking company, you can go over there and check it out. Maybe you guys can make the list for next year. But they named their top 20. I'm going to just name them.
Okay.
And shout out to these companies for making the 20 list. Again, this is their list. You and I might make the Talk CDL's best trucking companies to drive for, and maybe none of these companies make it on there. You know, it's just the opinion of Carrier's Edge and the TCA. Okay,
I'm curious.
You're curious?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that it's. I'm going to tell you. I don't think that it's number one. This is the number one company. So I'm just going to go 1 through 20, and I don't think again that number one is the number one.
They just put them in there. They didn't put them in any specific order.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. The first one on the list is American Central Transport out of Kansas City, Missouri. Good job. Number 2, Bison Transport out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Oh, Canadian. Number 3, Boyle Transportation out of Belarcia, Mass. I don't know, man, how much good comes out of Mass. All right. Anyway, Central Oregon Truck Company, Inc. in Redmond, Oregon. Challenger in Cambridge, Ontario, another Canadian company. Chief Carriers in Grand Island, Nebraska. Herb Transport in New Hamburg, Ontario.
That was my grandfather's name.
Herb?
Herb.
No, this is Herb, not Herb. ERB, not H-E-R-B.
Oh, sorry. Okay, mine was Herb.
I'm not one of those, never mind. Okay. Fortigo, number 8. Fortigo Freight Services in Etobicoke, Ontario. 3 companies from Canada made their list.
Yeah, I only really recognize one so far.
Yeah. Number 9, Fremont Contract Carriers out of Fremont, Nebraska. Number 10, FTC Transportation, Inc., Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Number 11, Garner Trucking, Inc., Findlay, Ohio. Number 12, Grand Island Express out of Grand Island, Nebraska. Number 13, Halvor Lines, Inc., out of Superior, Wisconsin. Number 14, Jetco Delivery, Houston, Texas. Number 15, Nussbaum Transportation Services, Inc., out of Hudson, Illinois. Number 16, Prime Inc. in Springfield, Missouri. Yeah.
Things that make you go,
Number 17, Swift. Oh, no, I'm kidding. It's not Swift. It's Thompson E. Keller Trucking, Inc. in Defiance, Ohio. Number 18, Transpro Freight Systems Limited. Number 19, CR England. Oh, just kidding. It's they're not on there. Number 19, Wellington Motor Freight in Aberfoyle, Ontario. And number 20, Wilson Logistics, Inc. in Springfield, Missouri.
I knew 3 companies out of all those.
Yep. I mean, I've heard of a bunch of them.
I only heard of 3.
I've heard of a bunch of them. And, hey, you know what? They made the list.
Hey, congrats, guys.
But, again, I'm going to say this. I'm not endorsing those companies. I'm just reading this thing because I don't personally know that they're a great company because I haven't run any criteria on ours.
Yeah,
so we haven't done a study.
And you got to see what their criteria will be. It might have to deal with so many trucks. It might have to deal with so many drivers or, like accidents or there could be so many things that are all part of that to where they came up. Because honestly, that one company makes you go, what?
Well, it's just like when you're sitting with your buddies in high school and you name the top 5 hot chicks in school and your buddies are going, oh, what are you freaking blind? Where did she get on the list? Ill. I mean, it's so. I'm just saying that's almost the same hooch-a-mahotch. Ruthann, let's go ahead and move on and let's go ahead and name one more sponsor for the day. Rev Insurance.
Rev.
Tell them about Rev.
Rev is the person to go to when you want to check out all your insurance options
Well,
that you need.
the trucking insurance company to go to, not the person.
Well, yeah.
It's not. It's call Rev. There's only one guy working there.
Well, Gino's there, but you know,
it's no Rev is a company, and they only work with trucking companies and truckers for their insurance. And this is what I keep telling everybody, and let us know about the people we sponsor also. Call Rev. I mean it. Just pick up the phone. Call Rev. Here's their number. It's 800-347-5373. Call this company and see if they actually can. I would love for drivers to call us and go, hey, that Rev really did get us a good deal.
Yeah.
Or they call us and go, that Rev, man, they're a little bit on the high side. But you never know. I mean, remember that Geico? Geico?
Yeah.
Everybody's like bragging, or Geico, they would always brag on the radio. And I called them one day, and they like tripled my cost.
Same here.
I don't think Rev would do that. I'm just saying you don't know until you call. So
you don't.
I would love a little experiment. Guys, pick up the phone and call Rev and give them your information. It's what, a couple minutes, and they could say, here's what we can do for you. And you might have I know owner operators are paying through the roof right now on insurance. And here's a company that is like hooked up with all the agencies and everything across the country to where they can run a search real quick and say, hey, listen,
this one's going to give you cheaper.
We could save you $3,500, or you never know, because some of them are paying like $20,000. Some small enterprise right now. It's insane. And I mean $20,000 like a month.
I have a friend that's at $5,000 right now is what he was quoted from
month.
someone.
That's a month.
And I don't think he didn't call Rev yet or anything
cheap,
like that.
$5,000 is not bad a month. Is he an owner operator?
He bought a truck, but he has a truck park because he don't have the money to get it going.
Yeah, I know a guy right now that honestly, he actually had a bad accident. So he went out and spent all his money on a W900 and nobody would insure him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I mean, it was like he's stuck with, I think it was like it was a used when he paid like $60,000 for. Paid it off.
That's still a lot of money.
I know, man. And I was talking to him. He's like, man, I'm just searching somewhere to lease this thing on. I'm like, well, why don't you try this company or try that company? And then he would call me back and he'd be like, no, they can't take me because of the accident. No, they can't take me every single time. And I was thinking, wow.
That's one of the biggest misconceptions that a driver can have, thinking that when they go to owner operator that they can get away with more. Yeah. And it's really, you still have the same qualifications as a regular driver. Yeah. There's no difference.
And don't get me wrong, like there's guys out there that'll go to these small owner operators, and you owner operators that take a chance hiring just anybody. If these guys mess up like they've been messing up their whole life, I'm talking about the real bad ones, your entire business is gone, believe me. I know a small fleet of probably 5 trucks or less right now, and the guy will literally hire anybody that if you have a CDL and it's valid, he will find a way to get you on. And I mean bad DUIs and guys with 2-3 DUIs or rollovers and texting and drivings and all that other stuff. Honestly, you're 10 times better off giving a truck driver. He don't pay crap, this guy.
I was going to say, because you
excuse me. No, you know what he pays? I'm serious. I want to mention the date because of the pay. It's what's today's date? January what?
10th.
January 10th. Are you ready for this? This guy, I think he has like 5 trucks. And because he'll take anybody, like the guys that really, honestly, they can't get a job anywhere. Like literally nobody will hire him. He will hire them. You know what he pays? 40 cents a mile. When everybody else is paying around 50 or more, he's paying students don't even drive for 40 cents a mile on January 10th, 2021. They come into the industry over 40 cents, and this guy's taking experienced drivers because they screwed up, and he's not paying them crap. But he doesn't realize as soon as one of them screws up in his truck, he's going to lose his trucks. Kind of a crazy way of thinking. Guys, listen to me. I'm going to tell you the best way to hire a truck driver. Pay them good money, and then you'll attract better truck drivers. If you're not paying good money, you're not going to attract the guys the best. If you're paying really good, you get to say who you hire. If you're cheap with your freight or your drivers, then guess what? You got to take what comes to the table for you, and that's usually not the greatest. Ruthann, should we roll along here? Do you have a word of the day?
I do.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
What do you got?
Hold on, I got to turn my mute off.
Is she going to get it right on the first try?
Badinage.
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 That doesn't sound. Never mind. Badinage.
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 And who are we bringing this by? Who brings us the word of the day?
Word Genius.
Guys, check out Word Genius. And listen, just so you know, Word Genius is not one of Talk CDL sponsors. We just kind of hooked up, or not hooked up with, we just kind of hooked on to them. Ruth Ann gets the word of the day every day, and she's like, I'm just going to mention it. And we'll just start helping them grow. So if you're looking to get a word every day sent to you, some new word in a vocabulary, that's a pretty cool way to learn different languages. Mm-hmm. Because what happens is you get the new word of the day, the definition, where it's from, a breakdown of it, and you can get it spoken to you so you actually understand how to pronounce it, and then you can use it in a sentence and literally smarten yourself up a little bit. I'm telling you, it's just the way to grow.
They also have games.
Mm-hmm. So badinage.
Badinage.
How do you spell it?
BADINAGE.
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 And what is it, a noun?
It is a noun, and it's French mid-17th century.
And what does badinage mean?
Humorous or witty conversation.
That's pretty cool. It's talking about me.
Oh, gosh.
I'm a witty, humorous guy. Oh, I'm just kidding.
You're humorous. That's for sure.
Yeah. Everybody's like, yeah, you just made fun of me, asshole. What'd you say to me, boy? Huh? No CB? All right. Do we have anything else?
I hope everybody started this year out pretty good.
2021. Guys, keep the faith. I mean this sincerely. Trucking is better than we think it is. And, sometimes with all this crap going on, and I want to talk about some things on the next episode about what truckers really faced in 2020. But, guys, if we just keep our chins up, what's great about trucking, we still get to go out there and see the country and go bye-bye like we like doing. Honestly, that's exactly...
He loves bye-bye.
Listen, I know some of you guys are doing it for the job, and I know some of you are doing it for the money, but I know a lot of you guys that are out there, you just love doing it. Honestly, you just love to play. Remember on The Color of Money with Tom Cruise and Paul Newman when he was shooting pool? He was a hustler. And he's like, he took the guy's money, and he said, well, let's keep going. He said, I'm out of money. He said, no, well, let's play. Let's just play. I think some truckers would just drive if they weren't getting paid. Hey, just give me a trip. I'll still take it.
Yeah, I think some of them just, it's like you said, it's in their blood. They just need to stay out there. They go home and they have maybe not a whole lot at home. They just enjoy being out on the road so much. They didn't really make a whole lot at home, so they enjoy being out.
They once asked Michael Jordan how he got so great. He said it was the love of the game. He loved it so much. He said, I loved it so much, I probably would have done it for free. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm serious. And that's usually the guy that excels and loves his job. The guy that actually, he just wants to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's great to get paid for it also. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell everybody, if you're good at something and you're successful first and you have a love for it, money follows that anyways. People are going to pay you for your service. Mm-hmm. All you got to do is love. If you guys don't, when we were talking about these guys before that don't love trucking, if you don't love trucking, go do what you love. I'm not trying to put you down, but if you're pissy and you hate the industry, go find the thing you love. People will pay you. If you're good at it, you can do it. Mm-hmm. That's my encouragement to anybody. Just do what you really like. You can make a job out of it. So, guys,
and stand behind your kid.
And guys, stand behind your son. If he wants to become a trucker, don't try and talk him out of it. Or she. I'll tell you what. Sometimes when you say no, you push them towards it. It's like it's like trying to deter your daughter from dating the guy you hate. Mm-hmm. What happens to that daughter? She ends up running away with the clown. If you really don't want him to be a trucker, just let him do his thing. And if he ends up, that's why I said, take him out on the road, right? And you'll know if the guy's like, hey, when are we going next? Or can I go with you again? If that kid's wanting to go all the time, he's probably going to be a trucker. He likes being out there,
He likes bye-bye too.
He likes bye-bye too. Ruth Ann, we're out of here.
Peace.
Peace. Praise the Lord.